Welcome back to another Rogue Thursday. Froslass and Munkidori is one of the strongest control style decks in the format right now, and in this video I'm going to show you just how powerful this deck truly is. Now, and here's the list that I've been running, and the entire game plan revolves around Froslass putting damage counters on all Pokemon with abilities, including your own, and then using Munkidori to move those counters off of your side of the board and onto your opponent's. This lets you slowly build up massive damage while staying in control of the entire game, and setting up clean knockouts without ever needing to swing for huge numbers. The list is mostly standard, with a handful of one-of cards for flexibility in case we need this or that. Now, and for techs, I am running Psyduck to shut down Dusknoir and Shaymin to protect against Wellspring and other spread strategies. Now, and if you want to try this list out for yourself, the full deck list is down in the description below. With that being said, let's get into game number one. Alright, so game number one, we see a Munkidori on the opponent's side, and we get to start off with a Yveltal plus a Munkidori of our own. We do open up our single copy of Nest Ball, so I'm just looking through the deck, seeing what we want to grab. We decide to grab a Snorunt. We are going to put the air balloon on the Snorunt as well, that way then we have a second option of free retreat in case this Yveltal does get taken out. Now, the rest of our hand is really bad, but luckily we do have a Iono, so we can at least draw into 6 new cards and hopefully go somewhere with that. Possibly getting a Froslass, that way then we can get that set up and be able to get an energy maybe for the Munkidori. Now, in here, they do use a Lillie's Determination into a Artisan, and then they use a Nest Ball as well, so now we're going to finally see exactly what deck our opponent is playing. We see a Frillish, which means that this is most likely the Gardevoir Jellicent variant of the deck, and they do use the Artisan to get down a Ralts as well. So we're definitely going to have to item lock them this turn if we want to have a chance against here. Otherwise, they could have the Rare Candy Gardevoir and just start snowballing a lead really fast. Now, I make sure to use the Artisan to get down a Budew first, just to thin the deck by 1 card before using that Iono to draw new cards. Our hand here is really good, and we are able to item lock them this turn as well. We did find a copy of Froslass plus a energy to put on our Munkidori, so we will be able to start moving damage next turn. Now, in here, they do attach a Psychic Energy, so they can retreat their Munkidori into a Frillish. That way they can item lock us as well. So here, our Froslass is still ticking for a lot of damage. We do need to get down another copy of Munkidori, so we are going to use this Artisan, get down another Munkidori. And then I do make a mistake here. I use Arven instead of Lillie's, and I grab the Earthen Vessel plus a TM Evo. I know that I don't need the TM Evo, and this is when I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm item locked by Frillish right now. So that's a mistake on my part, but it doesn't really matter too much right now. We're still having 1 Munkidori set up, able to move that damage. And this also plays around, if they don't hit us with the Frillish next turn, then we do have the Earthen Vessel to be able to get an energy. So we're giving ourselves a couple more cards just in case. They do finally find a Dark Energy, so they can get rid of our Budew. Luckily, Artisan is still on the field, so we can go into another copy of Budew that is going to start giving them extra prizes, though. But in this matchup, that's actually fine with us, because if they're the ones that are taking prizes early, then our counter catchers are online and not theirs. Now, in here, we did top deck into a Iono, but this time I am going to make the right choice, use the Lillie's Determination. I actually draw into multiple Dark Energy, which is massive here, and I am just going to retreat into the Budew because I am going to be item locking them once again, and I am just going to start using these Munkidoris. Now, I'm throwing the damage over here onto their Munkidori instead of their Ralts, specifically because I want to keep them off of as many Munkidori as possible. The other option that you can do in this matchup, which is actually a little bit better, is actually just keeping them off of Ralts. But we do know that we're just constantly dealing damage with Froslass, and it's all based off of who has the most Munkidoris is going to be able to do the most damage in these type of Munkidori mirror matches. So here, they do get to take another knockout on the Budew, and they can item lock us once again, but that is completely fine. They're down to 4 prize cards remaining, which means there's most likely not going to be a time that they're going to be able to use a counter catcher, so those are just turned off. They do use their 1 copy of Turo just to bring the Munkidori back up. That way they can actually reset it on a following turn when they find another Dark Energy, and that is massive for us too. That means that Counter Catcher plus Yveltal can actually lock something into the active, so that way then we don't have to worry about them attacking later in the game if we can't find our TM Devos or anything like that and set up the knockouts. Now in here, our turn is really strong as well. We are able to get down another copy of Munkidori. We have the Dark Energy to attach. I was debating about attaching to the Yveltal because then we could actually lock them into the Frillish into the active, but we are just going to use the Munkidoris. This way we can knock out one of the Roltzes here. They will be able to go into a Gardevoir most likely, but we can actually do another play next turn where we get down another copy of Munkidori plus a Dark Energy on that, and we will be able to set up a ton of damage and then use the TM Devo in our hand to actually get rid of the other Rolts as well. So that's kind of my thought process that I'm having at this point, and that's the reason why I did that turn the way that I did. Now in here, they are just going to fire off this Ultra Ball at the start of their turn. Most likely they're going to grab a Gardevoir here, that way they can actually go Rare Candy into it. And the two cards that they discard is a Super Rod plus the Mega Diancie, which I understand discarding the Diancie, but discarding the Super Rod I think was the wrong play. They do have the Rare Candy play, and here for the Earthen Vessel, they actually get rid of one of their Munkidoris just to find some energy. That way then they can chain another copy of Earthen Vessel, get some more energy into the discard, and then they are going to use this Artisan, most likely to grab a Screamtail here, and then take a knockout on one of our Munkidoris, or potentially take a knockout on our Froslass to stop all of the damage buildup. Now in here, they are doing exactly that play. They are able to go straight into that Screamtail. If they do take a knockout on our Froslass, that is going to be very bad for us, because that means that we're going to have to take another turn to set up most likely, and we're going to have to get double Snorunt down, that way then they can't take a knockout on it, or we're going to have to use the Artisan, get a Shaymin to stop their Screamtail, and use the Night Stretcher to get back the Snorunt. Now here, instead, they actually go after one of the Munkidoris instead of the Froslass, which I don't think is the right play for them. I think that if they did hit the Froslass, it would have been a lot harder for us to keep dealing damage. But because they went for this play, I am able to still use the Artisan, be able to get down the Shaymin, put down another copy of Munkidori, and then I can attach this Dark Energy. They did remove the Munkidori that had the most damage, so we're not going to be able to get rid of their Gardevoir this turn. So here, instead, what we're going to do is we're going to put a ton of damage on that Gardevoir still. I am just going to put a Dark Energy onto the Yveltal, and then we are going to be able to use the Lilies. We find a Counter Catcher, and I make a mistake here. Instead of bringing up the Frillish, I should have brought up their Gardevoir, because they only have a single Psychic in the discard, and at most they could do one attach per turn. They would have to find another copy of Earthen Vessel or an Ultra Ball plus another Psychic in order to get enough energy into the discard to be able to attack with their Gardevoir. They're not going to be able to retreat with it either, because we're using Yveltal to retreat lock, so that's just another mistake that I made. Now in here, they do put down the Fez as well, which I don't think that they should be using in this matchup. It's something that we can easily Counter Catcher up and then just retreat lock it using our Yveltal, and they can't use Gardevoir to put energy on it or anything, so they're having to manually attach to it. But because we have Shaymin, that also stops its attack from really working on our bench, which is the main thing that they'd want to hit. Now in here, they also get down a Latias too, just to have free retreat on all of their basic Pokemon. But again, if we're using Yveltal to retreat lock, then they can't really do that either. Now in here, they are going to put a Bravery Charm on their Fez as well, just giving it 50 extra HP, and they're really taking their time to think through their plays. Now, instead of getting the Latias, they should have gotten the Mew EX, because then they can actually get a lot of draw from it and be able to potentially attack with it as well. Here, they just give up another thing that we can easily retreat lock, and that's kind of how we're going to have to win this matchup. Now, first, we're going to start off by taking a knockout on that Frillish, because we can move some extra damage this turn. Now, we do have the TM Devo in hand, so we know that that's going to be the play that we're most likely going to go for. The other thing that we could do is actually set up for a knockout on this Screamtail, and that's why I'm starting to move a little bit of damage there. But I am just going to go for the Team Devo play, get rid of their Rolts. They can swing with Screamtail. It will be able to knock out our Yveltal if they hit that, in which case that's completely fine with me. We still have the Air Balloon on the Froslass, so we still have free retreat. We have a Night Stretcher to be able to get the Yveltal back, plus a Dark Energy in hand if we want to go that route, or we could even use Artisan, get our third copy of Budew, or get something else that we'd want instead. So we have everything that we could possibly want in this situation. Now in here, they are going to use this Night Stretcher. They are going to get back a copy of Rolts, get that back down onto the field, but it is a little too late because we can just constantly keep moving 70 damage over and taking knockouts on those Rolts, so they're never going to be able to go into another Gardevoir in this match again. Here they do use another Night Stretcher, getting a Dark Energy though, but they should have actually grabbed the other copy of Rolts. That way then they can at least guarantee that they could go into another Gardevoir if we don't use a Budew, which is most likely what we would do. Instead, they actually go for a Munkidori. That way then they can actually start moving some damage, but we still have 3 Munkidori. They are putting damage onto our Shaymin though, and sadly they make another mistake here by attacking our Munkidori instead of the Yveltal. We do have the Shaymin, so that prevents that attack damage. Now in here, I do have a Dark Energy to attach to the Munkidori, so we are going to be able to move 70 damage over to take a knockout on their Rolts, guaranteeing that they're pretty much going to lose this game because they're not going to be able to go into a Gardevoir, and they see that the writing's on the wall, and they will be conceding here. Alright, so game number 2. They start off with a Charmander, and we have a Budew plus a Snorunt. So our start is really good. Our hand looks really nice too. They do have a Buddy-Buddy Poffin to get down a Pidgey plus a Tatsugiri. They do attach a Fire Energy to that Tatsugiri before getting down another copy of Charmander, and they attach a Maximum Belt to that Charmander as well. Here though, we are going to use this Nest Ball that we have, be able to get down a Munkidori, attach this Luminous Energy to it as well. We could get down the Artisan. I'm not too afraid of giving them access to like another Pidgey, and we are going to fire off that Lillies, and then our hand is really nice here too. We are going to fire off this Buddy-Buddy Poffin. This gets me another copy of Snorunt. I do want to get down double Froslass, and we do have a TM Evo that we could use with our Munkidori and be able to go double Froslass right away, but that gives them the opportunity to go like Rare Candy, so I'd rather just Itchy Pollen them this turn and then try to find our Froslasses next turn. Now in here, we do just go into that Itchy Pollen, and they do have a copy of Dawn, so there's 2 different routes that they could go here. They could go for the Pidgeot line, or they could go for the Charizard line, and they end up going for the Charizard line and getting a Fez as well as the basic from their Dawn. They do put that down, that way then if we do take a knockout, they will be able to draw 3 prize cards unless we play around it. They also get down a copy of Moltres just to thin out their deck a little bit as well, which we're not afraid of their Moltres. Now in here, we are going to use this Ultra Ball, get rid of the TM Evo that we don't need anymore, and get rid of the Shaymin, get down a copy of Froslass. We could put down our third copy of Munkidori, but we don't have an energy to attach just yet, and we already have another copy of Munkidori that needs an energy, so it's not really worth it. I also debate about putting down the Bravery Charm, but I decide against that too. I am going to fire off an Iono instead of the Lillies. That way then I can disrupt their hand and stop them from getting into a Charizard potentially. We are going to get down another copy of Budew, and sadly we still just don't have another energy to attach. We do have Arven though, so we will be able to get our Earthen Vessel next turn, and that will be able to get us the Dark Energy that we need for our Munkidori. They do finally find another Fire Energy, so they are able to knock out our Budew, but they're not able to go into a Charizard just yet, or even go into a Pidgeotto. Now, we actually top deck into our Earthen Vessel, which is massive here, so we don't have to use Arven to search it out. We are able to get down another energy onto a Munkidori, and now it's just how do I want to handle this. So if I go for the Lillies, then I could have a higher chance of getting down a second copy of Froslass, but I decide let's go for a counter catcher play instead. That way then we can bring up their Fez, force another energy out of their hand if they want to be able to attack, and that is going to be massive as well. We're playing to try to run them out of energy because their Charizard is going to be something that's really difficult for us to get rid of. Now in here, we are just going to start moving our damage over to their Charmeleon, because if we do hit them with a TM Devo, we need to have 110 damage on that, because it does take that much to knock out the Charmeleon. Now in here, they do have another copy of Dawn, so now they will be able to go into a Charizard this turn, and they are going to grab the Pidgeotto as well. That way then, if they find a Pidgeot EX or another copy of Dawn, then they will be able to go into the Pidgeot and get a free search every turn. So that is something that we have to be worried about as well. Here, they do use their Charizard, getting most of the rest of their energy onto their field before going into the Charizard, taking a knockout on our Budew, going down to 4 prizes remaining. Now in here, we still are just doing a ton of damage with this Froslass, and the fact that they had to evolve their Charmeleon means that we don't really have to worry too much about putting a ton of damage anymore. Now in here, we are going to grab another copy of Counter Catcher. We do get down the Yveltal and use the Dark Energy on that, and we are going to be able to go back into a Yveltal, be able to retreat lock their Fez while we continue to set up onto their Charizard. That way then we can have this TM Devo play in a following turn, hopefully next turn. We are going to also put a ton of damage onto their Charmander, that way then that can get knocked out as well, because our main way of winning this matchup is actually item locking them and keeping them off of Charmanders. That way then they can't go into Charizards, because if they can't use items once they're out of energy, then they can't use a Super Rod to put the energy back, or the Charizards either, or even the Charmanders, and that's what we need to do. They do have the copy of Turo though to be able to get the Fez back into hand. They do get another copy of Charmander down as well, which does throw a wrench in our initial plan of using the TM Devo next turn, so we are going to have to just play around it a little bit. We can take a knockout on this Charizard though, if we use the TM Devo, because it's at 110 damage on it, but we only have 2 Munkidori, and we don't have enough damage on our side of the field for a 3rd Munkidori to really matter yet, but we are going to get another Munkidori down. This way we can still just move that damage, guarantee that if they have like a boss's orders, we're guaranteed to have enough damage to be able to knock out that Charmander, and be able to also use the TM Devo to knock out their Charizard as well. So that's the reason why we're going for this play, and then I can just hit them with the Budew, item locking them for another turn, and that's most likely what I'm going to do here as well, because I don't really want to give them the Snorunt. That way then they also can't go into Pidgeot unless they find a Dawn, or they actually just naturally draw into it. So we're trying to play around as much as we can here. Now in here, they are going to take a little bit of time to really think before they do their first play, which is putting down Fez. They most likely thought that because the Charmander got knocked out during the start of my turn, that would give them 3 extra draws, but it doesn't, because it's not me actually knocking it out, it just got knocked out from checkup from the Froslass damage. So here, they do find a copy of Battle Cage, so that is something that's a little bit worrying, but we do have another copy of Artisan in hand, so we will be able to Stadium Bump and execute our plan of getting rid of both of their Charmander and Charizard. Now in here, that's exactly what we're doing, that's why we start off with the Artisan first, and we can also use the Artisan to be able to find another copy of Budew. That way then we can do that on a following turn. Now from those prize cards, we actually get a 2nd copy of TM Devo, which is massive. Just in case they do end up finding another way into another Charizard, we can still hit them with another TM Devo and be able to get rid of that as well. Now in here, we are down to 3 prize cards as well, and we are just going to hit them with the Iono, putting them down to only 2 cards in hand, giving us only 3, but we have everything that we need already on the field. Now, we are putting back their Pidgeotto as well, so they have to have Rare Candy plus Pidgeot if they want to be able to get into a Pidgeot this turn, which isn't something that they're most likely going to have with such a low amount of cards in hand. They aren't item locked though, so they could potentially do that. They do put down another Oricorio and a 2nd copy of Battle Cage, but that doesn't matter anymore. We pretty much already won the game. We can use the Munkidoris to just keep throwing damage onto their active, and then use a Budew to keep them item locked, That way then they can't use Super Rod or Night Stretchers to get back their Charmanders or get back their Fire Energy, which means that they're never going to be able to attack with anything, so they're just going to lose from that. So after a couple seconds of me debating about putting down Froslass, they do end up conceding and we win that game. Alright, so here are my thoughts on Froslass Munkidori. I think this deck is very strong and lines up well into a lot of the top decks in the format. It rewards good sequencing and smart damage management, and it can feel overwhelming for opponents who aren't prepared for it. If you're looking for a fun control deck that's also very competitive right now, you should absolutely give Froslass Munkidori a try. Now, and if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button. I post new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.